I'm doing something that you should probably never do. Stand on your bike helmet. And there's a good reason that I can do it, because Arai make some of the strongest shells in the business. And in fact, this one is just a shell. That's how strong it is. No flex, nothing. So to tell you a little bit more about what makes Arai different and what puts it as a leader in the market, here's Joe from Arai. And in fact, you'll know Joe from some of our other videos where I've said he's from RST and he's from AGV, and that's because you are
a product specialist working at Moto Direct. We import AGV, Arai, and we manufacture RST.
Cool, there we go. So now you know. But what's important about Arai?
So Arai have a very specific safety philosophy, which they go beyond kind of test criteria to try and make their helmets as strong as possible. Okay. The outer shell of that philosophy is just as important as the shock absorbing liner. This is basically built to be as strong as possible to offer you 5 different advantages in terms of safety as a motorcycle rider. I'll very quickly talk you through these. So the first thing they do is they manage multiple impacts very, very effectively, because this piece stays in one shape and in this piece. They also have a low coefficient of friction, which means as you slide down the floor, because they're nice and smooth, they don't give you any secondary injuries, so to your neck or to your arms and legs, things like that.
Okay, so that can happen if a helmet has a lot of sticking out bits of aero, for example.
Yes, that's exactly, that's exactly what Arai say. Similar to that philosophy is that it will protect you from also rotational force injuries. Yeah. So these are when your helmet snatches on something and your brain gets twisted around in your skull, and there's a lot of damage that can happen that way. Okay. It will protect you very effectively from crush damage. So if you have a big bang this way, this piece is reinforced here to be as strong as possible that we can see there. And then finally, the outer has a constant curvature so that it can deflect the energy away from the outer shell like this. So even before you need that kind of absorption from the EPS liner on the inside, you've got the outer shell trying to move the energy away from you, so you don't need that absorption.
Cool. So this is literally just a shell to demo, right? We've got some pretty cool plans. That's why we've got some of these. But I'll put this one away because we'll have a look at a proper one. So if you want to pick one off the shelf, we'll go into a little bit more detail.
Yeah, by all means. So really importantly, any Arai in the range has that safety philosophy. All of the Arais, every single one, it doesn't matter. They're all built to that exacting standard. They're all handmade from start to finish, signed by the person that made them in the factory as well. So there's real providence with an Arai.
This is the Rolls Royce of bike lids.
Yes, I would say so, yeah.
There we go.
And this is the Quantic that I've got in my hands here. So this is the kind of sport touring helmet, the helmet that's been built for wearing for a long amount of time. So really, really nice and comfortable helmet. And what I've found personally, guys, is if you ever have felt I don't fit into an Arai, this is the one to try. This is super, super accommodating for many different head shapes. So please don't be afraid to try this one on. It's really, really quite good.
And that's important, really. You know, we talk quite often about trying different helmets on from brand to brand. But just like you say, you know, the shells are slightly different and the way that helmets are made within a brand. Yeah. So yeah, like try it on if you don't necessarily feel comfortable in another Arai, try this.
Absolutely, definitely. And if you've got that thing, you know, I've never used to fit an Arai, this is definitely a newer helmet that will potentially fit you, which is really nice. We've got some really nice features on here as well. So we've got the 3D logo bubble vent at the front here. This is a low speed vent. So the air will come underneath the logo and into the helmet at low speed, so below 30 miles an hour. And when we're going faster than that, we have the 2 teardrop ducts on the top part of the head. These are the fast, high speed air ventilation, letting lots of air in that way. The wing on the back is designed to stabilize the helmet like this by keeping the fast moving air away from the slow moving air. And it also uses the Venturi effect to increase the effectiveness of the exhaust. So just under here, we've got a little hidden open, closed, and an intermediate exhaust vent as well.
So it's literally sucking the air out of the inside of the helmet. So yeah. It's pulling extra air in through that.
Absolutely.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. Arai, big fans of the brow vents to give you as much ventilation as possible without giving you, extra kind of holes in the shell, as it were. Because it's a helmet that's going to be used a lot in different kind of conditions, you've got a slider for the chin vent compared to some of the other helmets. It's a little bit more hard wearing, easier to do with the gloved hand, which is really, really nice. The big difference of when we look at this helmet is when we look at the inside. This is Arai's crushed velvet interior. Super soft against your face, when you put it on, oh, it just feels like home, which is really, really nice. And what Arai have done for the base of the shell is they've increased the width here by 5mm each side and extended the front out 5mm. So they call this shape the easy on, easy off. So again, if you're on your big tour, always on and off with your helmet, just makes it way more accommodating. The Quantic has also been fitted with some systems for comms as well. So you've got a slightly flattened part of the shell here to mount your comms unit. And then I love this feature. I don't know if you'll be able to see this on the camera. That is just for your spare speaker wires. It's just such a small thing that makes a lovely little difference for the use of your helmet. You stick your spare wires down there, keeps your job nice and neat. So Quantic sport touring helmet, absolutely beautiful from Arai, and something I'd really recommend everyone give a try.
Awesome. Just one thing on this helmet, because a lot of people ask this question, and what are these pieces for?
Okay, so the side pods, yeah, I can understand why people want to know about this. So if we take the helmet in a crash, what will happen is all the plastic parts on the outside of the shell are designed to break away and leave you with the shell that's very, very smooth and continuous and lots of shell to it.
Okay.
Now, the key thing is about that is if we recess a visor within a shell, we do have to reduce the amount of shell. But actually, when we look at the base plate system, there's only 2 tiny little threads here that are taken away. That's the only material that's taken away to allow that system to fit on there. Okay. The side pod is basically just a covering for this system. So what Arai are trying to do is give you most shell without impacting the safety, give you a visor, and then keep it nice and neat with the side pod system that you see here. So what's that all about? It's just Arai's link to safety.
Awesome. Of course, this is the Quantic, one of their most popular helmets, but there's plenty to suit all styles of riding, like the Tour X5, for example, if you're into kind of adventure. So something for everybody within the range. And if you're looking for yours, you can, of course, get them right here at Demon Tweeks, both in store or online.